City of Philadelphia, Department of Human Services, and I would like to welcome you here today and thank you so much for coming. We're really excited about today because it really represents partnership and what can happen to move systems forward when there are key partners at the table who are really invested in our city's children and youth. Particularly, I want to recognize Mike DeBardinas today, our city's managing director. Eva Gladstein, Deputy Managing Director for our Health and Human Services Cabinet. And Rahima and Mark from the State Department of Human Services Southeast Regional Office, who have spent a lot of time at the city going over just a few records now and then. And certainly we're thrilled that one of our key partners is here today. I'd like to bring Ted Dallas, who's the Pennsylvania Secretary for the Department of Human Services for the state.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, this is a very good occasion. After 2 provisional licenses, we're here today to announce that Philadelphia DHS is going to receive a full license for. There are a lot of people who deserve credit for that. Certainly, our great managing director, Michael DeBardinas, our great deputy managing director, Rahima, Mark, the folks from the state, but I want to call out a few folks in particular. One is Commissioner Figueroa, who in a very short period of time has achieved a great deal of change, and I think more importantly, put steps in place that are building blocks for future change and solidifying the change that we're awarding here today. But most of all, I think the credit goes to the staff at DHS and the staff at the CUAs. I'm sure Commissioner Figueroa will. My job and Commissioner Figueroa's job, a lot of times we get to take credit for a lot of hard work from other people. It's fun when you get to do it, but it really is important to note that none of this would have happened if it hadn't been for all the work that the people who work for Commissioner Figueroa, the people who work for Rahima, people who work in other parts of DHS in Harrisburg, they all work together and there's a spirit of partnership that got there. It could have very easily been, when you get to a second provisional, that Cynthia was looking at me and saying, oh, he's the enemy. The state's the enemy. We're the ones who are giving a provisional license. But to her credit, she never did that. It was very much a spirit of partnership. What are the things that we need to fix? What are the things that we need to do to make Philadelphia DHS a better agency? So when I first got involved, and I was actually going back to the first provisional, there were multiple violations. There were folks who necessarily weren't talking to each other. There was a rocky implementation of the CUA system, right? And all of those things, I think, contributed to a place where we didn't want to, but we felt the need to issue a provisional license. Since then, what we've seen in this particular licensing visit is the number of violations has gone down. Now, every time you do a licensing visit, there's going to be some level of violations, but the number of violations has gone down. Right? At the same time, we're seeing supervisors and caseworkers working together to get to decisions that are in the best interest of children. We're seeing the commissioner over here ushering in a new era of accountability and performance-based management. She has a bunch of metrics and measures. She's not only holding herself accountable by putting those goals out there, she's also holding the CUAs accountable. Right? And I think that led to another thing that we thought was a great improvement was we've seen a much greater level of integration with the CUAs and with DHS. I think in the past, when that implementation began, folks weren't always talking to each other as much as they should. And I think while there's always more work to be done, right, I think that integration is well on its way. And I think a lot of that is directly due to Commissioner Figueroa and her work. So I really wanted to be here today to commend Philadelphia DHS for the progress they made, commend Commissioner Figueroa for the work that she has in her leadership to date, commend Eva Gladstein for putting up with me when I call her on her cell phone and she steps out of meetings. She's the nicest person in the world. Every time I call her, it's like, she's like, I'll just step out of a meeting for a second. She never says, buzz off, I'm in the middle of something, so I appreciate that. And I think that while we have some work to do, right? I think we're going to be looking at the measures that DHS in the future is holding themselves accountable for. We're going to look at that child care room, which Cynthia, you said you're going to eliminate for me, right?
I'm working
They're working on it, all right. So you can ask her about some of the things she's doing to reduce the number and eventually eliminate kids being in that emergency placement room. But we'll be working, continuing to work with the city if you'll have us, and continue our partnership and hope that this will be the first of many full licenses for the city. So with that, I want to turn it over to the woman of the hour, Commissioner Figueroa. Please come on up, Cynthia.
So everybody knows what kind of moment this is, right? Everybody with me? Woo! So this is indeed a woohoo moment for all of us, and we are celebrating partnership. Philadelphia worked really hard for this, and I say Philadelphia because it was all of us together as partners. We're grateful for the relationship with DHS, and thank you, Secretary Dallas, for pushing us in the right direction for the benefit of children and families. I'm also thankful to the team at OCYF who has put up with us and sat through a long number of meetings. And I too want to recognize my fearless leaders who have been just the tremendous support to me and given me a lot of running room and all the support so the department can get online. And that's Managing Director Mike DePerdinis and Deputy Managing Director Eva. Thank you. Personally, thank you. As the Secretary said, he took a lot of my points, but the heroes today are the staff of DHS. I cannot thank you enough for your dedication, commitment, willingness to take some of the risk and challenges that myself and the leadership team put in front of you, and you said, yes, absolutely. And to the KUAs, thank you. Thank you. You all took major risks to join us on this journey. This is not a DHS success. This is a DHS KUA success, and this is truly about the partnership and how well we're working together. So thank you all. To say that the implementation of IOC was not an intense period would be an understatement. But I am pleased to say that we've made some tremendous progress and stability, and there are a number of successes that I want to highlight. First, with the implementation, which is our commitment to move this work into the community. Since IOC, we've been able to increase the number of kids who are in kinship care. As of right now, all kids who are in placement, 46% of them are with kin. Of that, 54% of those kids are kids who are in a home-based placement. So 46% of all kids, and if you're in a home-based foster care placement, 54% of our kids are with kin. That's the highest level we've ever had. 56% of our kids live close to their home of origin, and I just want to make a stat that that's 5 miles in Philadelphia. When I told this stat to somebody in Harrisburg, they're like, are you kidding me? We don't even count unless it's like 20 miles. So if it's within 10 miles, it's 80% of our kids live next to their home of origin, so within 10 miles of their home of origin. We're projected this year that 2,021 children will have permanent homes. This is the largest increase that we've seen since the full implementation of IOC. We committed to a 1 to 10 case ratio. As of today, we're 1 to 11. We know that there are constant challenges in the work of child welfare. We know that there is tremendous complexity in our work. We know that the road is long, and we know that we have not accomplished absolutely everything, that child care room is top priority. We will continue to work together with the primary goal of keeping children in their homes and keeping families together and working with our communities to bring this forward. I want to thank you again for all of the partnership, for the KUAs, for my leadership team who've just been phenomenal. It is an honor to serve the city. It is an honor to serve the city in partnership with all of you. Thank you. If there's any questions or another woohoo.
What was the last time you had a full license?
So we went into a provisional in May of 2016, so our full would have been up until that point. Great. Yay! Have an awesome day. Thank you, everybody.